everyone. My name is Miss Davis. I'm the music teacher at Shuman Elementary School, and today we're going to be talking about the instruments of the orchestra. Specifically, we're going to learn how to classify the instruments of the orchestra into the 4 instrument families. Those families are the brass, woodwind, strings, and percussion. Before we do that, we're going to sing a song. This is a folk song from Germany. So here on the map, we have Germany. And then here we have where Germany is and also where we are. So we are across the ocean from them. We are going to sing the song in English to make it nice and easy. And in this song, there are 5 different instruments that appear. So the first one is the violin. The second one is the clarinet. The third one is the French horn. We're just going to call it horn in the song to make it a little easier. The fourth one is the trumpet, and then the last one is the timpani. I'm going to sing straight through the song, and then we will go through and learn each of the different parts of the song. So all the words are here on the screen, and then we'll kind of break it down and go one by one. So it goes like this. The violins ringing like lovely singing. The violins ringing like lovely song. The clarinet makes doodle 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 dead. The clarinet makes doodle 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 dead. The horn sounds so forlorn. The horn sounds so forlorn. The trumpets are sounding ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. The trumpets are sounding ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. The timpani's 2 notes, it's always the same notes. The timpani's 2 notes, it's always the same. All right, we're going to go through and learn each of those verses, so we'll do one at a time. The first one is the violin. So I'm going to say the words, and you can say them right after me. So it goes like this. The violin's ringing like lovely singing. The violin's ringing like lovely song. So when you sing it, it goes like this. That's our first note. So I'll go first, then you. The violin's ringing. The violin's ringing like lovely singing. Like the violin's ringing. The violin's ringing like lovely song. Let's try that together. The violin's ringing like lovely singing. The violin's ringing like lovely song. All right, our next instrument is the clarinet. So there's a picture of the clarinet up here, and the words are a little bit silly. So it goes the clarinet, your turn. Sings doodle, 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 det. So it's got 4 doodles, and the doodle's supposed to sound like the clarinet does. So that's why it's got kind of funny words. The clarinet, sings doodle, 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 det. So the first time we have 4 doodles, the second time we have 3 doodles, and that's the only thing that's different. So this part goes like this. The clarinet, makes doodle, 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 det. The clarinet, makes doodle, 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 det. Let's try that together. Here we go. The clarinet makes doodle, 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 det. The clarinet, Our next instrument is the horn. So this picture is of a French horn, and we're just going to call it the horn. The words are very easy. They repeat themselves. So it goes the horn, sounds so forlorn. The horn, sounds so forlorn. Forlorn means sad and kind of lonely, so the horn sounds a little lonely all by itself. This part of the song, this verse, is actually all on the exact same note. So it doesn't change at all, it just has different words. So the whole thing is going to be on this note. So I don't think we really need to go back and forth since it's all on the same note. So we'll just try it with me if you can. Here we go. The horn sounds so forlorn. The horn sounds so forlorn. Let's do the parts that we have learned so far. So we'll do the violin, the clarinet, the horn, and then we'll learn the last two and put it all together, and we'll play it with the ukulele. So we'll start with the violin. The violin's ringing like lovely singing. The violin's ringing like lovely song. The clarinet sings doodle 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 dat. The clarinet makes doodle 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 dat. The horn sounds so forlorn. The horn sounds so forlorn. So that's what we know so far. If you notice, I accidentally messed it up just a little bit. I said sings instead of makes. So if you mess it up a little bit, it's not a big deal. The next instrument is the trumpet. So the words for this verse go, the trumpets are sounding. Ta 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 ta. Ta 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 ta. The trumpets are sounding. Ta 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 ta. Ta 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 ta. So this verse, just like with the clarinet where it said doodle, this one says ta 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 to make it sound just like a trumpet would. So that's called an onomatopoeia when we use words that we try to make sound like sounds that are not actual words. So that's why it's got some funny things. Now we're going to sing it. I'll go first, then you. The trumpets are sounding. Ta 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 ta. The trumpets are sounding. Ta 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 ta. Let's try that all together. Here we go. The trumpets are sounding. Ta 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 ta. The trumpets are sounding. Ta 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 ta. This is the last verse, and this verse is about the timpani. The timpani is a big drum that we use in the orchestra, and usually you'll have 2, maybe 3, maybe even 4 timpani all playing together, and each one is one note. So in this song, it's talking about the timpani having 2 notes, so that's 2 different timpani drums. So it's only going to use 2 notes in the song as well, since we're trying to sound like the instruments. It's going to use this note and this note. So the words are, the timpani's 2 notes. It's always the same notes. The timpani's 2 notes. It's always the same notes. All right. The timpani's 2 notes. It's always the same notes. The timpani's 2 notes. It's always the same notes. Let's try that together, and then we'll put it all together because you will have learned all of the verses. Here we go. The timpani's 2 notes. It's always the same notes. The timpani's 2 notes. It's always the same notes. We're going to go straight through. I'm not going to tell you which one's coming up, so I hope you're paying attention. If you don't want to sing, then another option is that you could use your hands to pretend like you're playing all the different instruments. So you could do that, or you could sing, or if you're really skilled, you could see if you can do them both at the same time. It's like challenge mode. Hope you're ready. The violin's ringing like lovely singing. The violin's ringing like lovely song. The clarinet sings doodle 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 dat. The clarinet makes doodle 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 dat. The horn sounds so forlorn. The horn sounds so forlorn. The trumpets are sounding ta 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 ta. The trumpets are sounding ta 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 ta. The timpani's 2 notes. It's always the same notes. The timpani's 2 notes. It's always the same notes. All right, now that we've gone through lots of different instruments, we're going to talk about how we put all those instruments into 4 different families. So we're going to talk about the 4 different instrument families, which are brass, woodwind, percussion, and strings. We're going to go in the order that they appeared in our song. So the first instrument in our song was the violin. The violin is in the string family. So there's 4 main instruments in the string family. There's actually a lot of instruments, just like my ukulele that I was just playing. And string instruments are really easy to identify because they all have strings. But when we identify the different instruments, we actually talk about how they are played more than like what they look like. Although if you look at this picture, these instruments look very similar. So the 4 string instruments are the violin, that's the smallest one, and then the viola, the cello, and the bass. The bass is the largest. So all 4 of those look very, very similar. And they are played 2 different ways. So you can play string instruments either by plucking the strings, like I'm doing with this violin. And when I pluck it, I kind of take my finger underneath it and pull it up so it makes sound. The other way that you can play them is with a bow. So you can see there's some little bows down by the instruments on the pictures. And a bow is this thing, it's wood on one side, and then the other side, mine is plastic, but originally they were made out of horsehair. And when you pull the bow on the string, it makes the string vibrate so that it makes sound like this. So that's what happens with all 4 of the main string instruments. You can play all of them by plucking or with a bow like I just showed. And you can see the violin is quite small, and they get all the way to the bass, which is even bigger than I am. It's about this tall. It's humongous. So the violin is the highest one. The bass is the lowest. Always got to make sure your instruments are safe when you put them down. The next instrument we had was the clarinet, and the clarinet is from the woodwind family. The woodwind family is a little bit harder to figure out than the string family, because in the string family, they all had strings. In the woodwind family, it's not quite as easy to figure them out, but once you know what you're looking for, it's pretty easy. These instruments are all in the woodwind family. They include the clarinet, the saxophone, the bassoon, the oboe, the flute, and the piccolo, and some others, but I can't fit all the instruments on all the slides. So the woodwind family, the way that you play those is that you blow into the instrument and they have something that separates the air so that kind of half goes over and half goes under, and it makes the air vibrate so that the instrument makes sound. One way that they do that is with a reed. So these are reeds. The saxophone and clarinet both use reeds. They're like this little piece of wood that you put on the mouthpiece of the instrument, and when you blow into it, half the air goes over, half the air goes under, and the reed vibrates, and that's how it makes sound. Some instruments have something called a double reed, which is literally like two reeds stuck together. And again, some air goes over, some air goes under, and it makes the air vibrate, which makes sound. Instruments that have a double reed include the English horn, the bassoon, and the oboe. Now, there's one really famous woodwind instrument that does not have a reed or a double reed, and that is the flute. Flute is played completely differently than the other ones. You hold it off to the side, and you blow down into it. So kind of like you're blowing into a bottle, if you've ever tried that before. And half the air goes down into the instrument and half goes over the mouthpiece. And the splitting of the air also makes it so that the air vibrates, that goes through. So even though it's made out of metal and it doesn't have a reed, it's still in the woodwind family because of the way the air splits when it's played. Now, our next instruments in our song were the horn and the trumpet, and both of those instruments are in the brass family. So again, there's lots of brass instruments, but the four main ones are the trombone, the trumpet, the French horn, and the tuba. The way that brass instruments are played is that you actually vibrate your lips to make the air vibrate, to make the sound. So you stick your lips together and you blow, and it makes a really silly sound like this. Feel free to try it because it's wonderful. And it makes the air vibrate, goes into the instrument to make noise. All of the brass instruments are also made out of metal, and they have mouthpieces, which go over your mouth to catch all that vibrating air. They have bells, which is when they get nice and big at the end, and they have these tubes that are all twisted together. So you can see like all the little squiggles in all the instruments. That's tubing going all through it. The last instrument we had was the percussion instruments, and that was our timpani. So I told you the timpani is a drum, and the percussion instruments are anything that you hit, scrape, or shake. So the timpani is a percussion instrument because you hit it to make noise. Other instruments, like on the screen, we have the gong, and the cymbals, and the bass drum, and the xylophone, and the tambourine. Those are all percussion instruments. Some other ones include things like the claves. So with claves, you tap them together to make noise. Oops, sorry, that was loud. And so you hit them together, and that means they're percussion instruments. You can also scrape things. So like if I took the side of my notebook and scraped it, that would make it into a percussion instrument. Also, if you shake an instrument to make noise, like an egg shaker or a maraca or a tambourine, then it's still a percussion instrument. So that's how we have percussion instruments. And that's all four of the instrument types. We're going to sing our song one final time. And this time when we sing, I want you to take your finger and draw the first letter of the instrument family you think that instrument is in. So if it's in the string instruments, you're going to draw an S in the air, or you could do it on a piece of paper if you wanted. If it's a woodwind, you're going to draw a W. If it's a percussion, draw a P. And if it is a brass instrument, you're going to draw a B. So let's see if you can figure out what all of the instruments are while we sing our song the final time. Remember, we start with the violin. Out of breath. The violin's ringing like lovely singing. The violin's ringing like lovely song. The clarinet makes doodle, 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 dead. The clarinet makes doodle, 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 dead. The horn right, now it's story time. We're going to read a book, and in this book, there's lots of different instruments. So we're going to see if we can figure out what the different instruments, what family the instruments belong to. So you can, again, draw in the air. B for brass, W for woodwind, S for strings, P for percussion. You could write on a piece of paper, or you could just think it in your brain while we listen to our book. Found the button. All right, so this book is called I Know a Shy Fellow Who Swallowed a Cello. It's by Barbara S., I think that's Gareel, and illustrated by John O'Brien. So this is a little bit silly because, as you can see from the picture, people can't actually swallow cellos because they're really big. But that's okay, as long as you're okay with the silliness. It's a really great book. All right, here it goes. I know a shy fellow who swallowed a cello. I don't know why he swallowed a cello. Perhaps he'll bellow. All right, here's a picture of the cello, nice and big so you can see it. And the cello is part of the string family, so I hope you got that right when you were guessing. I know a shy fellow who swallowed a harp. Not so sharp to swallow a harp. He swallowed the harp to jam with the cello. I don't know why he swallowed the cello. Perhaps he'll bellow. So here's a picture of a harp. Harps are also part of the string family because they have strings. I know a shy fellow who swallowed a sax. Sax is short for saxophone. Hard to relax when you swallow a sax. He swallowed the sax to jam with the harp. He swallowed the harp to jam with the cello. I don't know why he swallowed the cello. Perhaps he'll bellow. So here's a picture of a sax or a saxophone. And you can even see in this picture the reed right here, which gives us the clue that the saxophone is in the woodwind family. I know a shy fellow who swallowed a fiddle. A fiddle is another name for violin. No time to twiddle when you swallow a fiddle. He swallowed the fiddle to jam with the sax. He swallowed the sax to jam with the harp. He swallowed the harp to jam with the cello. I don't know why he swallowed the cello. Perhaps he'll bellow. So here's a picture of the fiddle or the violin, and it's also part of the string family. I know a shy fellow who swallowed a cymbal. Not so nimble to swallow a cymbal. He swallowed the cymbal to jam with the fiddle. He swallowed the fiddle to jam with the sax. He swallowed the sax to jam with the harp. He swallowed the harp to jam with the cello. I don't know why he swallowed the cello. Perhaps he'll bellow. Here's a picture of the cymbals. And the cymbals are part of the percussion family because you hit them together. I know a shy fellow who swallowed a flute. That was a hoot to swallow a flute. He swallowed the flute to jam with the cymbal. He swallowed the cymbal to jam with the fiddle. He swallowed the fiddle to jam with the sax. He swallowed the sax to jam with the harp. He swallowed the harp to jam with the cello. I don't know why he swallowed the cello. Perhaps he'll bellow. So here's a picture of our flute. And if you remember, we talked about the flute a little bit because it doesn't have a reed, but it's still part of the woodwind family. I know a shy fellow who swallowed a kazoo. Strange thing to do, swallow a kazoo. He swallowed the kazoo to jam with the flute. He swallowed the flute to jam with the cymbal. He swallowed the cymbal to jam with the fiddle. He swallowed the fiddle to jam with the sax. Getting out of breath. He swallowed the sax to jam with the harp. He swallowed the harp to jam with the cello. I don't know why he swallowed the cello. Perhaps he'll bellow. So a kazoo is like this little, usually plastic, sometimes metal thing that sounds kind of like a whistle. And a lot of times you have them at birthday parties, like this person did. And the kazoo is actually part of the woodwind family because it has some stuff inside right here that splits up the air, just like a reed would. I know a shy fellow who swallowed a bell. The teeniest, tiniest, petite casca bell. Here's a picture of a bell, and the bell is part of the percussion family because it has a thing inside that goes back and forth and hits the side to make noise. Well, his belly, it wiggled, his belly did shake, it rumbled and tumbled and quivered and quaked, it rocked and it rolled, it swiveled and swelled, and all on account of that wee little bell. So, he belched and he belched and he burped and he turned shades of yellow. It seemed he was doomed, that very shy fellow. He weaved and he wobbled, he stomped and he yelled. And next thing he knew, out jingled the bell. Then, out buzzed the kazoo, out tooted the flute, out crashed the cymbal, that noisy galoot. Out flashed the fiddle, out sizzled the sax, out strummed the harp, he played to the max. Well, he bellowed, that fellow did bellow. And last but not least, out cha-cha'd the cello. It's the end of our story. All right, so if you were paying attention, then you should have something that looks kind of like this. So in our story, we had, 8 different instruments. Then we didn't have any brass instruments. I guess he didn't think those tasted very good. We had 3 woodwind instruments, the flute, saxophone, and kazoo. 3 string instruments, the cello, the fiddle, and the harp. And then 2 percussion instruments, the bell and the cymbals. I hope you learned a lot today. Thank you so much for joining me as we sang and read a book and learned all about the instruments of the orchestra and how you can separate them into the 4 different instrument families: brass, woodwind, strings, and percussion. Thank you so much for being here and have a wonderful day.